like Dan Crenshaw. And I'm more than willing to admit that most of it's because of the eye patch. It just looks cool, all right? I mean, it sucks that he had to get it. If you can recall, I did the video on Hassan Piker talking about, yeah, man, he got his eye taken out by one of those brave soldiers. Douchebag. See the nonsense that they're pulling over there on TYT with the deep balls deep in the Trump derangement syndrome. Well, Dan Crenshaw, speaking of, Trump derangement syndrome, went on Bill Maher. Yes, Bill, I wish we had a recession Maher. One of the things that completely turned me off from this gentleman after, years of really enjoying his content back after he took over for Dennis Miller as HBO's political TV show. I love Dennis Miller Live, by the way. Yeah, he has completely lost his mind. And it's been over the past couple of weeks where Bill Maher has actually been like, okay, wait, we really got to pump our brakes because the whole China virus situation, like, yes, this is a China thing, as well as I can't recall what he said last week, but the deal is, did he say that last week? Well, either ways, he has on Dan Crenshaw, who's a Republican, and this is really beautiful. What happens when TDS meets the truth? I think that's the name of this video. So without further ado, and yes, HBO tends to like to come at the copyright claims, which is a part of the reason for the extra long spiel right here. But hey, this is important. This is America, baby. Let's go.
Share this disdain for victim culture and for lots of stuff, trophy syndrome. I hope I have some credibility with you because, I did a show called Politically Incorrect, which started in 1993 when I think you were about 10. And I was onto this shit a long time ago, and it hasn't gotten any better.
And you really haven't helped it, Bill. You really when Trump got elected, like everybody, the entire celebrity, we see him. They minds exploded. Like, what? And the crazy part is that they've been insanely unfair to the man. And if the establishment wants to learn anything, if I could tell the establishment anything, is that we can see how unfair you've been and how unfair you're being. And that's why he does absolutely nothing. That's why every plan that you put forward, it just blows up in your face because you're not, it's really hard to deny how unfair you guys have been.
I think you do have some credibility for sure in conservative circles. I don't know how often you test or do focus groups amongst conservatives, but we generally think of you as a real liberal, and and that means something. And there's a difference between liberalism and leftism, and we can disagree wholeheartedly on the best way to govern our country or the best way to perceive a problem and the framework with which to approach problem solving. But open-mindedness and the ability to debate should be a key tenet of liberalism, and at least in the classical sense. And so, no, we do appreciate it.
Okay, so let's debate a little.
And that's one of the reasons why it's so sad to have all these people, particularly up on the internet, who get angry and get upset and get butthurt. Like, I don't think trolling should be considered this terrible thing. It is a matter of, hey, yeah, getting shit tested in a lot of cases, and in other cases, in many cases, and what it's been conflated with is that search for debate, right? That search for, hey, okay, I disagree with you. Now, explain to me your viewpoint. Explain to me your vantage point. Why are you seeing these things differently? And as we look at the colleges, right? Because I've done tons of videos on colleges. I still got that Jen Jackson video to do. We see where, no, it's not about debate. It's about, hey, I know everything. I'm the smartest person in my world. So thusly, like being so locked into an ideology or so locked into a philosophy or the like, that you're not seeing clearly beyond the trees. So this is let's keep going.
A bit. I mean, you say in your book, I'm going to quote you call out automatic assignment of blame outward. That's what we were just talking about. Help me understand how someone who calls out the outward assignment of blame can be such a supporter of a president who does nothing but pass the buck, lie, finger point, shirk responsibility. Tell me how you can.
Okay, and that's the thing, because you guys sat there and just keep throwing it at him. You guys are so blind, Bill Maher. He just lies. Yeah, he does. Everybody lies. Like, honestly, it's so much hypocrisy in all of this, particularly when it comes to the media and how they look to portray things. Because the media lies day in, day out. I've literally done 2 videos in the past like 2 weeks where CBS is caught basically bullshitting. Yet for some strange reason, we're supposed to say here, like, who was it? I think it was like Snopes or one of the left sites who were like, oh yeah, well, does Trump lie? He lies about small things, but he's honest about big things. And it's like he's simultaneously the most honest and the least honest president that we've ever had. But the deal is that there's where the literal and figurative argument always comes in. You can't always take him literally, you can't always take him figuratively. It is a chess game that he likes to play, and he plays it with the media incredibly well, which is how he ended up president in the first place.
Support someone with your background, someone like that.
Yeah, it didn't take long for Trump to come up.
Because of the TBS.
I would say I support the country, right? And the president's success is certainly tied to the success of the country.
Exactly.
I support his policy.
Sorry, Dan, but that's the thing. It's two separate things. They're two separate entities. You have to at times be able to separate the president and the country are not the same thing. And if we all love the country as we say we do, right, then regardless, you want the guy to do well and make good decisions. And instead of, participating in, because he's really shown himself as someone who would be willing to talk to people, even those who he feels screwed him over. Like, he's all about the whole second chance thing. So, if the blue team or, liberals or whatever the heck you want to call them had decided from jump, yeah, you know what, it is what it is. It's not the person I wanted, but it's the person that we got. Let's operate like adults. It would have been one thing, but it hasn't been over the past 3-4 years. No, it hasn't been. The things, a lot of particularly at the state level, a lot of the blue team has gone into overdrive when it comes to the corruption, nonsense, and BS. Massachusetts Murphy
agenda. When I disagree with this policy agenda, I openly disagree with it. This isn't. Republicans always get asked this question, and there's this demand that we always have to answer. What do you feel about him? Well, don't you want to comment on his latest tweet and his latest out and the way he lashed out?
It's boring.
And no, I don't. I can't defend everything. I can't. He doesn't have the same style as I do. I don't consider him my spiritual guide by any means. But let me tell you a quick story. When I was
chain of command. I mean, I'm kind of interested to know why the military guy didn't just say chain of command. He's the guy who has the job. It is what it is. Same with Bush. Same with Obama. You get the job. You rock. You can't sit there and speak on each and every choice that he makes because it's his choice. You either agree with it or you don't. Plain and simple.
Sitting in my hospital bed, President Obama was doing the rounds at Walter Reed, just like President Trump does now, and just like President Bush did before him. It's a really neat thing. It's a really interesting connection that the president gets with these wounded active duty soldiers that is never publicized. And even though I may have disagreed with so many levels with President Obama, I made sure to get up and I was excited. I was genuinely happy and to shake that man's hand and have him sign the American flag on my wall. And even though we disagree on political things, and I think I would like us to get to that point with this president as well.
Okay. Yeah, because we're supposed to have a kinship under the flag, regardless of there's so many people who I can't stand, right? But at the end of the day, do I ever want any bad to befall them? No. Why? Because at the end, because I want them to be okay. Even though I don't like it, I want it. If it makes you happy, by all means, knock yourself out. It's really no sweat off my back, and that's how we used to approach our politics. Like, look, I don't agree with you on everything. I'm not supposed to agree with you on everything. That's really the fun part of being a human, being alive. But the ability to have the conversation, the ability to have the back and forth is like when we lost that, that's when we truly lose, the country.
But you do what a lot of Republicans do. You talk about his tweets and his style. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the person who is the leader of the country at a time of crisis. And we have to go through what he actually has done. This is important stuff. It's about life and death, and it's about our economy and everything that's really important. It's not tweets and it's not style.
That's right. Oh, do you feel the emotion coming off of Bill Maher right now? Like you have to. Like, it's almost impossible. No, people are dying. People are dying. No, sir. I'm tired. It's time to be serious. Like, dude, come on, yeah. Yo, DC, because that's what I'm going to call Dan Crenshaw from now on. Yeah, he about to school him.
Go through the timeline, okay? Because he was warned. This did not have to happen. Alex Azar, his Health and Human Services guy, January 18th, he warned him about this. And again on January 30th, Trump said he was being an alarmist. Peter Navarro, somebody else who talks to Trump a lot, told him directly January 29th, you got to get ahead of this. February 10th.
2 days later, he implemented a restrictive travel ban from China, which he was widely criticized for. That same day, on January 31st, Nancy Pelosi proposed the No Ban Act, which would be congressional limitation on what President Trump's actually able to do with that travel restriction.
Okay, but he lies about that. First of all, didn't.
How does he lie about it? What do you mean?
He said he stopped people coming in from China. He did not. He said he was ahead of it. 43 countries did it before we did. There are still people coming in from China. He only stopped foreign nationals.
Yeah, okay, let me address that, because I know that's what people are saying right now. But the reality is, it was about 40,000 people came in after that. These are U.S. citizens and green card holders and passport holders being repatriated. U.S. citizens. So you have to make the argument then that we shouldn't allow them in. I mean, it sounds to me like you're fully agreeing with President Trump on this when everybody else disagreed with him. And if you're saying that you wish that travel restriction had been more extreme, okay, fine. I mean, you apparently had the foresight back then, but when nobody else did. But the fact is, if Joe Biden was in charge at that moment, he's already said he wouldn't have done it. He criticized it at the time. Nancy Pelosi actually proposed legislation to stop it.
Okay,
so,
but people are still coming in from China. It wasn't just foreign nationals, but let's get off that. Let me just go back to
Yeah. I mean, let's get on. Hold on. I mean, just say. Yo, and this is how TDS end up making people look like, yo, bro, like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And then let's just move on. Let's just do something else. Okay, whatever. Let's keep going.
Timeline for a minute. February 10th, after these warnings, he says it's going to go away in April with the heat because he had a hunch. February 25th, he goes to India. This is 4 days after the White House coronavirus task force said we're going to have to lock down the country. And Dr. Nancy Messonnier, who's in charge of the Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases. Wait a second, let me just finish. She announced this on the 26th, on the 25th, that we were going to have to lock down the country. He said the next day, 15 people have it, and it's soon going to be close to zero. March 6th, he said anyone who wants a test can get it, which is still completely
let me stick to February.
Completely wrong.
As you go forward, because you mentioned February 25th. The day before, February 24th, that's when the administration requested $2.5 billion from Congress to fulfill, CDC, NIH, and FDA funding to combat the virus and the potential spread of it. What happened right then? I'll tell you, because I was in Congress and I know what happened. Did we vote on a supplemental funding bill? No. Did we wait days to vote? No, still didn't vote on it. You know what we voted on later that week? Nancy Pelosi, the only thing she would put on the floor to vote on was a bill to ban flavored tobacco.
And just like that, it was over. Deal is, and this is God in Congress telling you, oh, for all the nonsense that the media, who Bill Maher is representing in this instance, and all the, oh, people are dying, and all that screaming and stuff like that. And I covered this in the other video that I did with the where I said, we can't don't even try to pretend that Biden can win this, because like everyone overlooks February, where it's a feeling out, things actually have to develop in order to take action. You know, you see what I'm saying? But they want to ignore that to just go, oh, well, Trump didn't act fast enough. Trump didn't act soon enough. When everybody, including Nancy Pelosi, who was sitting there, and I think she was, the Blasio was the one talking about going to Chinatown. But Nancy Pelosi was I think, in San Francisco talking about, yeah, come on out and there, might do all the great things and do the twist and like. That's when they, that's what they were doing at that time in February as well. They were encouraging people to go out. So this hypocrisy in the notion that, oh well, Trump is this need, this want for him to be the bad guy, this need for him to be the bad guy is just, it really goes to show how and why people are so tired and so pissed off when it comes to the blue team, because you're so blatant about this. You are so just, and the red team did it too, but the red team did it better under Obama. The red team had the Tea Party, right? And they were like, oh yeah, okay, Tea Party, you're over there, champ. But as far as Republican go, it's our own thing. Whereas blue team, nah, let's all be communists now. And it's like, whoa, wait a second there, champ. So this is fun.
That's what actually happened. It was only a week later that we actually voted on supplemental funding that the administration requested. Your criticism appears to be based in one thing, that Trump was overly optimistic. That's his style. You know, again, you can criticize it. That's fine. But it's not connected to the actions that were actually taken. Because if I back up even further, February 14th, CDC announces ongoing work with 5 laboratories to perform community-based influenza surveillance and study the spread of the virus. We're in a fact-finding mode in February. People forget this.
We
People keep calling February this lost month.
The world,
it's really not. That's an easy and cheap accusation because there's no big, bold moves taken like there was in January or like there was in March. But the reality is our government was working to create that test. Now, did they work as fast as we would have liked? And of course not. And there's a lot of reasons for that, which I'm happy to go into. By March 3rd, there was only 102 cases in the United States. And yet I'm hearing criticism that we should have been locked down weeks earlier. But would you think the American people would have accepted that with only 100 cases in the United States? Italy didn't lock down until March 10th. Spain, not until March 14th. UK, not until later in March. Places like Sweden's never locked down. And so I provide all of that context as we try to basically accuse this man of he's being accused of having blood on his hands. And context is so important here.
Well, it is.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Dan Crenshaw, DC, my God, just shredded them to pieces with that. And how can you not? These are the facts on the ground. This is what's been going on. And to sit here and say, oh, you're too optimistic, that's his job. Like I've said in other videos, like what do you want him to do? Sit there and start screaming and panicking? And oh my goodness, the world's coming to an end. The world's falling down. That's literally not leadership. It can't be leadership.
And also, it's not just about being optimistic. It's about being right. The world was aware of this. And since when does America take its lead from Italy and Spain?
Well, because those were where the outbreaks were happening.
I understand.
Right? Well, I'm pointing it out again for context. But if we're going to criticize somebody's actions, we have to do it in the context of the facts they knew at the time. And so I'm just trying to be fair here. That I don't really care about defending him or his actions. I just care about letting people know the truth. And when people,
thank you, because that's not what it's about. You keep making it about him. Right? Like that's that's Bill Maher's entire shtick, and it has been for the past 4 years. Well, I can't watch this man anymore. It's he's just like, oh yeah, well, Trump's bad, Trump's wrong, Trump bad, Trump wrong. No matter how Trump would have done it, you'd have found the reason to complain. That's one of the most feminine things that guys, am I wrong? Comments. Let me know in the comments. Am I wrong? Just, hey, no matter how there was no way that he could have handled this that you would have been okay with. Not a single one. If he locked everybody down in October of last year, you would have been like, oh my goodness. And guess what? He's not the one doing the locking down. He's doing his job and leaving it up to the states. And that's where things are just completely bonkers right now. You look at Michigan and Illinois and here in Jersey, all of these places. So it's our state politics that have really run amok over the last 30, 40 years with just so much light being shown on the presidency. You don't realize that your state senators, your state assembly folks, your city council people, and your mayors are all terrible.
Make these accusations. I have to ask them a question. Is the goal to make Trump look bad, or is the goal to get to the truth? Because there's two different sets of answers for that.
Yep.
Okay, but sometimes they converge. Sometimes the truth.
Well, sometimes they can be the same thing, you know. But in Trump, it can be the truth that Trump is bad, and it's just like, dude. I don't know why you posted it, but I'm glad you did.
Is that somebody who says, I have a hunch. I have a hunch this is going to go away. Is that someone you would want to have served with? I mean, my God, I don't understand why someone with your resume, you were in Fallujah, for God's sakes. Would you want someone, a commander to say?
This is literally the entire reason this whole video exists. Because Bill Maher, you've seen none of it. You have absolutely no idea how real shit get when shit get real, bruh. And so this is a beautiful answer given by DC here.
That to you to blame everybody else if something goes wrong, and then to say, I have a hunch the enemy's not going to be in there. Let's attack.
Sure, no, I understand that. So here's how I would describe my answer to that. When bullets are flying past my head, I don't need to raise my voice. And I write about this in my book too. Calm breeds calm, panic breeds panic. Being an optimistic, positive, and exuding positivity and calmness in crisis is exactly how we ask our SEALs to lead. I'm not sure I see a lot of evidence for blaming others, maybe blaming China, although there's a lot of evidence for that. So maybe that's a good place to lay blame. But I did it last Trump week. Blaming, Democrats here, or he's exposing hypocrisy, and maybe we're confusing that with blame. But no, I mean, again, calm breeds calm, and that's how we would lead in the SEAL teams.
Bang, bang. You can't sit there and freak out when shit gets nuts, because things always get nuts. There's a great Van Wilder line. He says, if you treat everything like a life or death situation, you're going to die a lot of times. I love that quote. And it's so true. You can't sit there and freak out over every little thing, which is, ladies, I'm sorry, but more in tune with the feminine. And you know what? It's okay, sweetheart. You freak out. You lean on me for this strength. I got you. I'm a rock, baby. We got this. Don't even worry about it. Because that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's worked for the past, for millennia now. And all the feminism and stuff like that, sitting there saying, oh yeah, men and women are the exact same thing. Oh yeah, completely interchangeable. Like, no, not at all. And, the past 3-4 years, particularly in our media, and especially from Mr. Bill, I would like a recession, Mahr here, we've seen how that feminine inclination is just, it's not helpful. It really isn't. So guys, with that being said, we're going to bring this one to an end. All the internet stuff. If you like this, also like this, go ahead, do that too. Nobody's scared of you. Sub if you enjoy my fantastic voice and you want to get videos like this every single day. Share, because sharing is caring. And YouTube and BitChute and aren't the biggest fans of your boy over here for very obvious reasons. Bang the bell for notifications and speak. Let me know, what do you guys think in the comments? It's like, I really like Dan Crenshaw. He's a conservative. I don't know where he stands on everything. I'm not about to go looking until he decides he wants to go for higher office, which, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. But please let me know what you guys think of all this in the comments, and until the next one.